Hey guys, it's Pastor Brennan. Real quick, before we get started with our worship and our message, we just have a couple quick announcements we want to let you guys know about. So this week, our new Naples Youth Challenge is going live. This one's going to be super easy, so everybody should be able to be a part of this one. So keep your eyes open on our social media outlets for more information on that until know when it goes live. So next, our Naples Youth Wednesday group via Zoom. If you haven't been a part of that yet, you definitely should be, guys. It is awesome and a lot of fun. We meet every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock via Zoom. If you need the login information, you can text 239-450-0188 or email naplesyouth@napleschurch.com. We'll send that over to you. Guys, there is a huge announcement that's going to be done this Wednesday at 7 o'clock on the Naples Youth Wednesday group via Zoom that you're not going to want to miss. So we hope to see you there. Now guys, listen, we're going to transition here into our worship. I encourage you right now, if you're in your room, shut the door. Wherever you are, get alone, get quiet, and take this moment just to enter into God's presence, to let Him wrap His arms around you before we head into this message. So guys, here it is.
You've overcome this world with love and made my fight your own. I lift my eyes and throw fear aside and sing out into the night. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the war's waged, I take heart. I know you are greater, forever you are Savior. I'ma sing your praise. Stand down the waves, 'cause you own the tide. I stand my soul and know you wait for me on waters wild, where faith walks above the storm. Come on. Even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the war's waged, I take heart. I know you are greater, forever you are Savior. I'ma sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I ever loved, with all that I have, with all that I ever loved. I won't let the storm weather my heart, won't let the darkness beat me down. Singing tonight, my hope lies in you. I'll walk through the fire and not be burned, pray in the fire and watch it turn. Jesus, tonight I give it all to you. Yeah, I won't let the storm weather my heart, won't let the darkness beat me down. Singing tonight, my hope lies in you. Now walk through the fire and not be burned, pray in the fire and watch it turn. Jesus, tonight I give it all to you. Even when the world caves, even this tonight, I give it all to you. Come on, just you sing. 'Cause I won't let
So, when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, what do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No! You go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
Okay, let's start tonight off with a question. What's your favorite movie? So think about it and think why. So I went on to IMDb to see what their top 20 movies of all time were, and this was their list. They had number 1 was The Shawshank Redemption, then The Godfather Part 2, The Dark Knight, 12 Angry Men, Schindler's List, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, Pulp Fiction, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, Fight Club, Forrest Gump, Inception, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, The Matrix, Goodfellas, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Seven Samurai, and Seven. So, in my 36 years of life, I've seen a few of those movies. Some of them I haven't. Most of them I'm at least familiar with. Enough to throw out a quick disclaimer that this is not a list of recommendations or a list of movies that I recommend you watch. But I'm also familiar enough with them to know the reason why they're ranked so high. The reason why these are considered like 20 of the best movies of all time. It's because of their storyline. It's because of their plot. You know, their ability to paint a picture. Their ability to explain a backstory. See, a backstory can be such an important part of any story or movie. Understanding the backstory, it helps make everything more complex, more interesting, more compelling. You know, something that you want to watch, you want to be a part of. It helps you connect. So take Finding Nemo, for instance. Finding Nemo, a movie that I can confidently say we've all probably seen. Could you imagine what watching Finding Nemo would be like if you took out the first 5 minutes? So in that first 5 minutes, pretty much the entire backstory is covered. Sure, we would all have cried a lot less, or maybe not at all. But we would have been left with a movie that just didn't feel right. Like, we'd be wondering why Marlin is so overprotective, or where's Nemo's mom? Why is she not around? Why is Marlin so terrified of the drop-off? Or why is Nemo's fin all gimpy? If we cut out the backstory, none of that would have been there. But just as important as the backstory itself is, it's equally as important as to when it's introduced. So imagine with Nemo, if you put that 5 minutes at the very end, it would feel weird, right? Like you watch this whole movie, you're ending on a high, Marlin finds Nemo, and then all of a sudden they tell you, oh, just so you know, the reason why Marlin's so paranoid and Nemo's fin is gimpy is because a barracuda killed the mom and all the babies, and the end. It wouldn't feel right. So if a backstory, if it's not explained correct, or if the timing is off, it can leave you feeling like, wait, what? What does this have to do with anything? See, chances are you've also felt like that at some point in your own life. We have these moments in our life stories that make us ask those same questions and make us feel that same way, like what the heck is happening right now? Or what's the point of me going through this? So I'm talking about difficulties, hard times, pains, struggles, problems, those things that just tug on you. The things that are going to be a part of our backstory one day. But right now they're our current story. Right now it's our life. It's here, it's now, it's what we deal with every day. And when we're in the middle of it all, it's tough. See, for the past few weeks, we've been asking this question, and we've been talking about this question: what do you do when you don't know what to do? Today, we're going to be talking about what to do when people make fun of you, or when a friend dies, or when your learning disability makes everything just so much more difficult, when your parents divorce, when it's eating you up inside, when your self-harm habit is just getting out of control, or when someone you love gets really, really sick. In other words, we're talking about heavy stuff, about the painful stuff, the real stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like before we can even ask that question, what do I do? When we're in these heavy moments where we don't really know what to do, we find ourselves just asking simply, why? Before we can ask, what do I do? We just ask, why? Like, why did my dad leave? Why can't I keep a best friend? Why does everybody leave? Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening now? See, difficulties, especially when we're walking through them, they can feel random. They can feel pointless. They can feel completely and totally unnecessary. And most of the time, these things that don't feel good, they seem pointless. And if we're honest, we've all probably had an experience, at least one experience in our life that hurt so bad and felt completely pointless in that moment. So for me, when I was in 11th grade, I had a best friend. Like that friend that you feel comfortable telling anything to. Like that friend that is not just someone that you know will always be there for you, but someone that you actually like look up to. See, if you guys know my oldest child, my only son, his name is Brady. My best friend's name was Brady. And I say was because when I was in 11th grade, my best friend died in a car accident. And I remember it was a Saturday morning, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and our doorbell rang. And another one of my really good friends was there, and he was just crying, and he said, "Have you heard?" And I said, "No, what?" And he said, "Brady died in a car accident last night." And even now I get worked up about it. And I felt like I got punched in the gut. And I didn't know what was happening. It made no sense. Because guys, when I say I looked up to Brady, even to this day, Brady was one of the closest representations to Jesus I had ever seen in my life. So it didn't make sense. It hurt. It seemed out of place. Guys, walking through it in that moment, it hurt. Made no sense in every way. But God did something with it eventually. I want to look at Joseph's story. We'll come back to Brady. But I want to look at Joseph's story real quick. Let's recap real quick. Joseph was the favorite son. Had a fancy coat. had dreams about his brothers bowing down to him. Told his brothers about these dreams that he had. His brothers hated him. They were going to kill him. They sold him into as a slave instead. He worked and went to work with Potiphar. God blessed Joseph, and in turn, Potiphar was blessed. Potiphar made him number 2 in his house. Potiphar's wife thought Joseph was super hot. tried to hook up with him. Joseph said no, and then she lied to Potiphar, and Joseph was thrown in jail. So that's the recap of Joseph's story up to this point. So yeah, Joseph's story, his backstory, it's jacked up. He went through a lot. Most of us here at this point, we would have been so angry at everyone, including God, that we would have just split. Like, we'd be out. We'd be done. Wash my hands, walk away. Done with this. But let's see what happens with Joseph. So it's found in the book of Genesis, chapter 40. Like the first 2 weeks, I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to tell you this story, but I super encourage you to take the time to read this story. It's actually a really good story. So Joseph, he's in prison. And there's these 2 guys that he's in prison with. There's a baker and a cupbearer. Well, there's this dream, and so Joseph basically interprets this dream with them in prison. And long story short, the baker, he ends up saying, the baker, you're going to get killed, and the cupbearer, you're going to be set free. So Joseph interprets this dream, and it happens. The cupbearer, the baker, ends up getting put to death, and the cupbearer ends up getting set free from prison. Now here's what happens. So the cupbearer is super excited, and he's all about helping Joseph out. He gets set free from prison and just completely forgets about Joseph up until Pharaoh has a dream. So Pharaoh has this dream, and nobody can interpret Pharaoh's dream. He's trying to get everybody to come in and say, I'm having this dream, what does this mean? Nobody can figure it out, and then out of nowhere, the cupbearer says, wait a second. There was this guy in prison, Joseph, and he interpreted the dream, and he tells about what happened with him. So Pharaoh calls for Joseph, who interpreted Pharaoh's dream with incredible accuracy, down to the point. And as a result, eventually, Joseph was made second in charge of all of Egypt. So he went from being second in charge of Potiphar's home to being second in charge of all of Egypt. And under Joseph's leadership, Egypt survived this terrible famine, which eventually put Egypt in a position to save Joseph's entire family and everybody in his homeland, just everybody from suffering from this famine. Did this make Joseph's life perfect? No, not even close. But when we see the big picture and we understand Joseph's backstory, we see that the stuff that he went through, it positioned him in a place to do something great. That's what happened with Brady's story. What happened, it wasn't awesome. And his family had to go through a lot. And everybody who knew him had to go through a lot. But you know what ended up happening? At his funeral, the entire church was completely packed. There was a youth building. The entire youth building was completely packed. There were people standing out in the front lawn. The funeral was videoed and ended up getting sent to family in multiple other states, who ended up showing it to their churches, who ended up showing it to their congregations, who ended up sending it to more churches. And this one funeral got sent all over the United States, and countless people got saved. Guys, I couldn't even tell you how many people found Jesus through this funeral. In the church alone where I was, there were people standing up everywhere accepting Jesus because of his life. I love what Romans 8:28 says. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. That's what God does. He takes a situation like Brady. He takes a situation like Joseph's backstory and life, and he works out good for it. God always has a plan. He knows what's happening. He cares. He's there. And he will do something good in your situation. He'll do something good for you and for others through it. So when we go through pain and we can't see the purpose yet, we can't see the big picture, I want to leave you with two things for you to remember that can help you to see the bigger picture, to get a bigger perspective. Remember, as you're going through something, that no one else has your life story. There is a reason for this. God's allowing this for a reason, and he's going to do something with it. Nobody has your life story. And remember that your story, it can interact with others. It can help someone. That doesn't fix it right now. But it gives a bigger picture, a perspective, a purpose behind it. Brady's life, it interacted with others. Joseph's life interacted with others. So if you're going through something right now, if you have hurt that hasn't fully healed yet, I want you to know that he will bring it all around for you. He cares so much for you and loves you so much. And if you're watching this right now and you don't have a relationship with Jesus, and you need a relationship with Jesus, guys, the Bible says that you simply confess with your mouth and believe in your heart Jesus is Lord, and you will be saved. It's as simple as just saying, Jesus, I believe you are who you said you are. And I choose today to follow you. So if that's you and you've never asked Jesus, to be your Lord and Savior, you've never decided that you're going to live for him, guys, I want you just to repeat this after me. If that's you, just repeat this simple prayer after me. Say, Jesus, today I choose to live for you. I confess with my mouth and I believe in my heart that you are what the Bible says that you are. You are God's son. You lived a perfect life for me. You died on that cross so I could have a relationship with you and access to God. And you came back 3 days later from the dead to seal it and make it official. And I know that I'll live eternity with you. Help me every day to live for you. Guys, listen, if you prayed that prayer today for the first time, we are so excited for you. Your life will never be the same. I want you to let us know about it. You can text me at 239-450-0188. You can email at naplesyouth@napleschurch.com, or you can reach out to us on any of our social media accounts. And listen, if you're going through something right now and you need someone to talk to, let us know. Reach out to us any of those ways as well. Guys, listen, we love you. We miss you. Yes, you probably heard my cat, but that's cool. This is real life. This is what we do, and cats meow. But guys, we miss you. We love you. Can't wait to see you again. You guys are awesome. All right, bye.